Gaylord-Pickens for hosting us and for facilitating this beautiful space and for hosting our Members Show. I'm honored here to moderate this timely and important conversation. We are living in a moment where creators are being asked to do much more than create. We are going to explore how artists are pushing back against these pressures and to learn and hear from our experts and amazing artists about different ways and how they navigate through alternative ways to promote their work. So before we get into it, I'd like to introduce our amazing panelists. First up, we have Jared Howard. Jared works with a wide range of materials, including acrylic, markers, graphite, ink, you name it. His pieces explore the emotional complexity of being alive. Next, we have Rachele Cromer. She's an illustrator and designer living and creating in Oklahoma City. She's known for her vibrant, playful illustrations. Her work has appeared all over the city and state, from murals and festivals like Sunny Days, Plaza Walls, illustrations for the Mirror Gardens, Curbside Chronicle, Actor Obscura, you name it. So, and her practice is centered around joy and communication and connection. And finally, we have Vilona, a powerhouse marketing strategist and founder of V Marketing with over 15 years of experience helping brands connect with their audiences. Vilona brings white glove approach to storytelling, influencer strategy, and PR. She's worked with communities, districts, and individual creatives to work their impact through authentic connection. So. As we dive into this discussion, of course, there's no simple right way to do the work. This is more about exploring the different opportunities and the different paths that these creators have been doing and what has worked for them and why. And at some point, the idea for this panel is we were noticing that a lot of people were migrating and moving and shifting from platforms, social media platforms, and embracing alternative ways to promote their work. At some point, we were told as artists you have to niche down. You have to build an audience. You need to post content every day. And then suddenly, we were artists, but also content creators. And more creatives are leaning into imperfection, mess, and realness. And I noticed as well that they're sharing the process and also the mistakes as well, not just the success of their work. So this is really interesting because I've noticed that these communities are flourishing because people crave connection and not just exposure. So this is, we were having some conversations around this topic, and we were, trying to connect the dots and trying to invite experts with different backgrounds and different experiences. And so basically, to give a little bit of context, I was doing some research on Hyperallergic magazine and some magazines online and some publications online. There are three main reasons why a lot of artists were shifting from those platforms. The first one is the AI training practices, because artists are concerned about those platforms using their content to train AI without their consent or compensation. So the rules are kind of blurred, and the guidelines are kind of blurred. The second one is policy changes. Some artists have expressed concern about changes on the content policies, moderation, and especially censorship. And the third one is political stances and values, and I'm not gonna get into that. But we've been noticing a lot of artists migrating, especially from meta platforms to alternative ones such as Kara, which Kara is amazing because it's by artists for artists, and they don't accept AI content, and they don't use AI training for their platform. There's Substack as well. There's newsletters, and Blue Sky, and I can name a few. But this is interesting to again to see how everything is shifting. But at the end is sharing and communicating what's important, which is your process, your connection, and what makes your art and your person and your practice valuable. So I have a couple of questions for you all. The first one is, what platforms or methods have you personally found the most effective to promote your work? And who wants to answer this first?
Is this on?
Yeah.
Okay. We got a tutorial on the mic, but
Actually, feel free to speak louder. It's a little muffled back here, if you don't mind.
okay, how's this?
Thank you.
Okay. I think for me, doing a lot of like in-person markets has really helped. I've had a lot of people come up to me and be like, oh, I didn't realize you were local to Oklahoma City, like I didn't know you were here. And so I think Way Out is a good way to meet other artists, find an audience, find people who are willing to buy your art and actually give you money, which is nice to have. So I think just getting out there and doing more in-person events has really helped me just find, build, and maintain an audience. So that answers the question.
I would say that for sure. Doing the in-person stuff is like definitely what makes me feel most connected with people who like art, who buy art, who are also making art, and so it's just the in-person connections that, the markets, and even just talking to your friends, going to like coffee shops like the Red Cup here, like you can have so many just good conversations with people, and that's where I feel the most comfortable. Also, like, this isn't necessarily a platform, it's more but like zines, people who they compile artist zines. I've gotten a lot of like commission work from people who have found my art through zines. And so I don't know, very paper, even if it is like online, things that other people are curating.
Do you share your behind-the-scenes process, or is it just the finished products?
The way that I make art is there's not a lot of behind the scenes. I start at the Google and at the Google. So, so it is just, I share the behind the scenes sometimes, but I mostly just the finish.
A lot of people love that. I'm a sucker for processes and the behind-the-scenes content. So, what about you, Vilona? Do you have from their marketing?
I'm not an artist, so my platform is to promote my marketing agency, and I am all about genuineness, authenticity, connection, relationships for my clients, for myself, and for me, I love in person. I love this. Like, I would like to meet with every single one of you and hear your story, just to hear your story, because I love people's stories. And for me, I mean, I'm an Instagram girl. I just am. I post. Anyone that follows me here like knows I post on stories almost every hour on the hour. I talk about where I'm at. It's a little ridiculous, and we'll get into that later. But I'm an Instagram girl. I just am, and that's what works for me.
And again, this is not, we're not punishing what's good or bad. It's what, like we're showing alternatives and different platforms and different ways for you to communicate what's good for you and what feels good for you. So, yeah, this is great. Do you show, or is there a way for you to show like behind the scenes?
Completely. I've been taking videos since I got here, and you all saw me. I need to take pictures with them and like all the things, because that's what I do. I want people to see the people behind everything, and I like to tag all the local businesses that I support. Where I go have coffee, it's a little ridiculous. You feel like a narcissist. I definitely do, but it does work, and I get clients because of it, because they can see that I'm in the community, and so I'm not. I literally live the community. behind the scenes, I think, is huge. There are some times where I will post a picture of myself in stories where I am working at 1 a.m. on my couch with a bun in my hair and glasses and a slight filter. And I'm like, anyone else up? You know, and like, let me know. Like, I want people to see that, like, this isn't, because anyone that knows my work, they think I'm just eating and drinking all the time, and I'm not. Like, there's a lot of hustle, there's a lot of work, and the work has to be done at some point. And hey, nothing wrong. Cheers, there's nothing wrong with that. I love it. I've raised 3 grown children, so I have all the time in the world now, and I don't mind. I mean, I've always worked at like midnight or early in the morning, so I think for anyone, I think it's important to show your authentic self.
And this kind of relates to the next question, which is, how can artists build and maintain a direct relationship with their audience, especially when you are using digital platforms? I know that this is kind of like a tricky question, and it can be challenging, but maybe you have fresh ideas.
Yeah, that is where I definitely do use Instagram, for sure.
Louder!
Does this work? Is this good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That is definitely where I use Instagram, is like I have like a very direct, like one-to-one relationship with the people who like my art, is like posting a story, like this is going on right now. But I've been really curious about finding an alternative for that, because I do have issues with the AI situation. That is why I want to move away from meta-based social media. But yeah, definitely. Like I post a story and then it's just like, here's the doodle, or here are the t-shirts that I'm working on, or here's the everything. And then just having like DMs. I love DMs. I love and like, I don't know. I've shared my number with like several people, and I've just become friends with people, and so that and the question was, how do you maintain those?
Yeah. Or how can you build and maintain those relationships even if you're using a digital platform?
Yeah. Just like, I don't know, becoming friends with people, like the people you would actually be friends with. That's just stay authentic, stay yourself.
Yeah, I would kind of piggyback off that. I try to stay really connected with a lot of my friends do art too, and so it's kind of easy to just be like, oh hey, like, what are you working on? We all kind of do the same things. And we try to do like craft club on Sunday mornings. We try to just stay connected. Really just, I think building a community is really important. And just finding your people, finding your friends. If you're not having fun, don't do it. I think as long as you're having fun and you're having a good time, that's really all that matters. So just, I think, find your friends, find your community. If you want an art crafting friend, come find me and I will craft with you at any hour of the day. But I think just finding your community and going out, doing in-person things like coming to events like this and just talking to one new person, I think that's really important. And as long as you is having fun, making friends, I think that's really all that matters.
And Vilona, from the marketing perspective, do you think that maybe giveaways or vote for X, Y, and Z, or do like a treasure hunt type of thing or rally, do you think that can be a way for you to engage or maintain a connection with your audience?
I think that could be a way. I think giveaways would be kind of interesting. I'd love to see some of you all give away your art, because I'm a big fan of a lot of artists. And that would be really cool. Or a bunch of you guys collabing maybe and doing a fun giveaway so that everyone has to follow all your pages, maybe just like 3 of you. That would be really interesting. That has different art, that has different mediums. I think that would be interesting. My thing is, I'm big into seeing the processes like you are, and I want to see the dirty hands. I want to see the studio. I want to see what shoes you're wearing. I want to see, like, so I help market Sunny Days, and all those artists, I'm always like, look at your dirty overalls, you look so cool. Like, I want dirty overalls. Like, can I just give you a pair and you guys paint them on me because I don't have them? Because I'm not anywhere near an artist. And so I think that is so genuine. I think everyone has their own process, and I think that's so cool. And talk about the inspiration. Why did you might not ever have to show the end of the doodle, but it'd be cool to know the inspiration, and then hey, to see the end, maybe I have to go to your website, or maybe I have to go to a show, or maybe wherever I have to go. Leave us hanging a little bit is always cool, because I get that. I don't need you, I don't want everyone to show their work if you don't feel comfortable, but I I think that behind the scenes is so cool. I mean, I think it's neat. And I think a lot of people with social media think too hard about it. It's really just chilling. Are you drinking coffee? Are you having a beer? Are you doing wine? Is it 2 in the morning? What is it? Like, I want to do that stuff. I know it seems crazy, but that's like the easy stuff. And you're just sort of living. It's just, that's all it is, to me.
What are the things that you have seen that are or have been more successful marketing-wise when it comes to promoting something?
I mean, I've handled a lot of social media pages. So my agency, I'm starting my 16th year, and I handle social media content, maintenance, and I also am the top agency in the state for influencer marketing and PR. But I would say, I mean, I've started lots of like organizations, social media pages with zero. We don't pay, I don't boost, I don't believe in that. I do everything organically. I don't schedule posts, I don't book pages. It is all organic. When I post is when I post, because everything in Oklahoma is sort of based on the weather, quite honestly, right? Like, you don't want to see a patio picture with a drink on it if there's a tornado coming. So we can't schedule things because the tornado can come, well, it's hope not doesn't happen. But you know what it's like. So, I just think being genuine, and I know it's rough and it's hard, and sometimes you think there's going to be some answer or the algorithm. I think most text, like the Canva graphics and things, like it's better to just do a 20-second video of what you're doing than to do the Canva with all the graphics and the text. Like, that's not going to work. So I know I'm going to say the word a lot. I just think being genuine works. That's what I've always done. Just be genuine. That algorithm's going to go up and down. It doesn't matter. Post it all different times of the day too. Don't make it the same day. It's a different audience. Post on a Saturday morning. Think about your schedule. If you wake up, you get on your phone. That's what I do before I even get out of bed. It's kind of ridiculous. So at 6 in the morning, sometimes I post. Like this morning, I posted the OVAC. I posted this very early, and this morning, because that's just what I do.
And another good way and another alternative is Substack, because I read that Substack is different because it's more edited to whatever information you want to see as an audience, and you're not distracted by all of the noise that is around different accounts of different people that you don't even follow. So that could be another way. And I've heard that newsletters and also like blogs are having a moment right now. So have you guys ventured in any of those?
Okay, so I made like one post on Substack, and I was like, eat bad art on Substack, I'm here, and I never posted again. But that's something that I'm really intrigued about, and I really want to I really want to do that. I just haven't made it happen yet. And I was talking to a friend today about Substack and how on Substack, all the people that I follow their newsletters, and I scroll on my email and look at their newsletters, it scratches the same itch that scrolling on my phone does, but it makes my brain feel a lot better. So I would like to do that for other people, but with my own art also. So yeah, both ways.
And I read someone commented on a post that Hyper Allergic made, the magazine, and they were saying that they were bothered by all of these leisure spaces being more like sales and advertising spaces. So this is a good thing about having maybe like a newsletter or a zine or a Substack or something that is more about showing your true self and your process, and not so much about this picture needs to be perfect because it needs to reach out X amount of numbers, or so yeah, it's really interesting. I feel that I think that a lot of artists especially are migrating and using different alternatives because the alternatives that they were using were more or look more for sales and advertising spaces and promotional spaces than literally and generally showing your art. So that kind of leads to my next question, which is, for artists who feel overwhelmed by self-promotion, what are more sustainable and low-pressure alternatives that still allow them to stay visible and connected with their community?
I I just want to post once a week, or I want to send out one newsletter once a year. I think having smaller attainable goals at the beginning can really help set you up. You don't want to make an unattainable goal and then be disappointed if you don't hit it. So I think just starting small, like you said, being genuine and just sharing what's actually happening. And going back to what you were saying about newsletters, I found a lot of the ones that I'm looking at and I'm reading, they are just trying to sell you things. It's like, oh, I just read this book and it's really cool. I just watched this movie. I made this recipe. So I think it's, like you said, being genuine, showing behind the scenes, like what you're actually doing in your real life, aside from just trying to sell people, you know, whatever it is you're selling. I think that helps kind of keep your audience engaged, so they're not just like, oh, they're just trying to sell me this new sticker or whatever. You're seeing like what's actually going on in your life.
That's an interesting point, that you're also sharing stuff that is not related to your practice. You know, it can be a book that you're reading, a new recipe that you just learned how to cook, and so this is an interesting.
I'm very pro that, always. Pro that, and maybe your art is in the background. But, or whatever you make is in the background. But I'm very pro having something like that. Like even when we create content for clients, if it is a video of them just talking for 30 seconds, okay, do you have like a very cool local coffee cup with you? Do you like put a crazy like burger in front of you and that's from a local place? Do we do it at Scissortail Park? There's a lot of that type of collaboration that I think is super important, because you can tag those people and then they will share it. And so a lot of what I do is that type of collaboration, where if you do things like that and you tag Oklahoma Hall of Fame, they're more than likely going to share it. They might not, but they might. And if they do, then their audience just saw it. So there's a lot of times where people are like, gosh, I feel like I see you everywhere. I just tag a lot of people all the time. So sometimes they share and you just see my name all the time. But very much want to know, you guys are in a this is all art focused, right? Whether you're a musician or art or whatever. It's very you. Like they want to know who you are and what inspired whatever piece you made. And so I very much believe in, I want to know what you guys are reading. I know it sounds crazy that people would be that interested, because I know that sounds silly, but it does get away from the selling. And every now you just don't want to sell. You know, like you just know, like think about your realtor friends, and they're all like, it's this house and that house, and they're like, I don't need that house right now. And so like, but they would just show other things, like, right? Like where they had coffee, where they ate, I don't know, other things. Then that would be great. Because you know what about it. So.
You know, that's really interesting, because I've had the opportunity to visit Fernando's studio multiple times in Mexico City, in Coyoacán. And her studio, of course, has a gallery space and features some of her paintings, but the whole experience is more about what she was as a person, what books she was reading, because everything is intact. Like her library, the kitchen, the utensils she would use. So it's more about the person behind the art and the practice. So this is a really good advice that you guys are sharing with us, because again, it's more about showing authenticity and who you are as a person. And of course, I've heard someone saying people buy people, and that is true. You know, like they will go to your show and they will support you and they will buy your stuff because they want to know more about you and they support who you are. And another question I have is how artists leverage collaborations or local networks like co-ops, groups, and in order to promote their work outside this algorithm-driven platforms. Can you name a few of the groups that you can think of in Oklahoma City?
Well, OVAC for one. No, but I think it's really important to just like get out and meet like local business owners. I've gotten work doing that, doing t-shirts with local businesses. And like you were saying, people want to work with you because they like you. You might not be the greatest artist of all time, but as long as you're nice and pleasant to work with, people are going to like you, and they're going to remember that, and they're going to want to continue working with you. And so I think just being nice and easy to work with and sticking true to yourself, I think that's going to help you just get more work, get more jobs, get more eyes on your artwork. So I think any collaborations you can do them. Join the groups, meet people. There's lots of different groups around here. Most artists are pretty nice, so if you just show up, someone will talk to you. So yeah, I think just getting out there, putting yourself out there, showing up is really the most important step.
Yeah, I would second that. Showing up is the first step. You just got to show up. OVAC, yeah, another shout out there. Honestly, like, a great situation. And then not only doing things that are art related, but things that are other kinds of interests to you. Like I've started volunteering at compost lot, and that has just brought so many new musicians into my life, and like just so many new like musicians and like different artists, and just like people who are doing so many different things in their life, and it's not necessarily we're all sitting down and making art together. We're standing, we're doing physical labor together, and we get to have conversations that might have a lot to do with what we're doing in our lives, like art, work wise, but also just philosophical conversations and like just, talking about the dirt, it gets a lot more gears turning, yeah. So, yeah, I would recommend doing that, like, definitely artist groups, but other groups as well.
Composting, that's where everybody's at. I'm not doing that. But I love that you all are doing it. I'm 49 years old, I'm not composting. That's not happening. But I love that you all are doing something for the planet Earth. Okay, so mine is obviously from a marketing standpoint. So I think collaboration, at the end, you were trying to sell something, right? You have to pay your rent. So mine is collaborating with organizations, businesses. Obviously, you're part of shows or something, right? So my big thing is, if you could just promote yourself in these shows a couple weeks before it happens would be great. If you all promoted what you were doing with whoever you were doing, a month ahead of time, any of those things, that's amazing. That helps because let's say you were collaborating with a hotel somewhere and they had an art show and it had 10 artists, but they weren't promoting it because they've got their own marketing team that probably doesn't know what they're doing. So you don't have to worry about yourself. And so you need to put your art out there, a video, whatever you want, and tag them in it, and they will share it because that's just as easy. And so if you just put yourself out there a little bit more for all the events that you're doing, all of the collaborations, and even just artists that you're hanging out with, just put it out there, videos, photos, and if you are part of the show, like let's say you're part of the exhibit upstairs, then whoever it is, it's OVAC, Oklahoma Hall of Fame, email them a few pictures and a video. That way they have things and a list of all your handles, and they already know how to tag you, and they have easy graphics there that's easy for them. Everyone's super, super busy. But if you would just promote yourself and tell us where you're going to be, that would be great. I think that's a big, big thing that I see missing in a lot of, it's not just art, it's almost every industry. So if you would just talk more about yourself and tag people and tell us where to find you and how to find you, that'd be great, because then we can come meet you.
Can I put you on the spot, Gaylord and Tanya, because I'm gonna second that, and I'm gonna tell the story if you allow me. So last year, I think it was the Members Show. Tanya, she's an amazing artist, she's here with us, and she has amazing piece upstairs. She told me that she came once to see Members Show to the Gaylord-Pickens Hall of Fame. And she said, one day I will have one of my pieces here. And this is the second year that you have a piece of the Gaylord-Pickens. So Members all around Oklahoma City and around the US. And so I'm sorry to put you on the spotlight, but I felt I needed to mention this because it's literally what you were saying. So thank you. And so do you have another experience or another fun or cool interaction with maybe like someone from your audience or something that you want to share with us as far as or regarding promotion?
I'm gonna go back to talking about doing like in-person things. Usually whenever I do a market, there's always someone that comes up and is like, oh my God, this is so cute, it makes me so happy. And I think just doing the in-person stuff can just really like energize you. It does me anytime anybody's like, oh my God, like this is so cute, I love it. So I think just getting out there and like having people talk to you about your work can be really exciting and it can just re-energize you. And each time I do a market, I go home and I'm like, yeah, this is why I do it. This is the whole point. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but.
Yes, absolutely. And actually, I think that having in-person events, you know, it could be like participating in I don't know, like being or selling your stuff at I don't know, like a specific event. I think that's a good thermometer for you to see people's reaction. You know, like, are they violent to it, or are they liking it, or what is the feedback I'm getting from them? You know, like because I'm literally seeing their faces, and that's something that you cannot have or experience through a screen, because of course you can read the comments and the DMs, but you are not able to see their reactions. So
I would just say, get out from behind the booth. If you're doing those things, get out from behind the booth, talk to people. Though I know there's a lot of introverts out there, I don't know how to relate to that because I am not that way. But every now and then I am. It's 10% maybe of me. But so I actually, for lack of a better word, I get off on meeting people. Like I just do. My heart rate like increases. I love it. I love meeting people. It's a great thing. And so, but I know not everyone's like that. I know a lot of these things are very hard for a lot of people, which is why it's kind of cool to be behind the screen. You know, I work with a lot of influencers in town and all over the state, and a lot of them are introverts, but they love social media because you can just be whoever you want to be. It's really interesting. So maybe just take advantage, have another persona.
what about you, Jerk? You want to share some experience with us?
I think one of the coolest things that happens is my main gig is like painting on t-shirts. And t-shirts go everywhere. So like I'll just see like one of my friends, I have a lot of friends in Kansas City, they'll be like, I saw one of your t-shirts at work today. Or like, I'll like, I don't know, like there was some video that went viral, I don't even remember what it was, but somebody was wearing a t-shirt that like I have designed. And people kept sending me that screenshot, and I was really, really cool to something walking around there. It's just, I don't know, those are the experiences that make me feel really good. Because I'm like, oh, it's just like getting out there. Like people are just seeing this art that I did, like in my bedroom or whatever. And it just makes me, yeah, I like that.
That is cool. That's. Do you all think that we're going back to the analog days?
I hope so.
Because you mentioned scenes and I don't know, like maybe postcards, posters, and printed invitations and stuff like that. Is that something that you like in your practice you see evolving or being more prominent?
I also hope so. My main thing is digital illustration, so I don't want it to go away totally. But I think people are getting more annoyed and upset with like AI and all these crazy things that are happening. I think people are leaning more towards like handmade, local makers. So I think yes, and I hope so. And I think as artists, we're just super adaptive, and so we can just kind of figure out what's working and just kind of lean into that and figure out how to make it work.
I'm always secretly hoping it goes back to 1990. So I'm always like, why isn't it 1990? For a lot of people. Or like, what about when Instagram went down for like 12 hours or whatever, and I was so excited, and I happened to be in a brewery client, so I was just sitting there drinking beer, which was great. But I was like, are people really going to be prepared if that does happen? If somebody anything happens and this all shuts down, you better be ready for direct mail and print and going back to 1990, because that's what you've got to be ready for in case this might not last forever. We have no idea.
Yeah, and actually, I have a background in trend forecasting, and one thing that taught me trend forecasting is every time that a trend is happening, the opposite of that trend is happening as well. So the more AI, robotic, computer-generated stuff we see, the more need to the human interaction and touch and tactability and like that kind of component, it's going to be happening as well because we're craving that as well. So it's interesting to see how those polarized components or qualities are happening at the same time. So I truly believe that it's going to be an interesting combination of both, because at some point we're going to get sick and tired of everything being so robotic and so cold, and we're going to be going back to basics, the human interaction and the human-made goods. I think that that's going to be like a really good opportunity for creators and artists. So yeah.
Someone recently told me about the phones you can get that have no social media icon on it. Like, you can't get on social media. I have to make sure that I have other jobs and ready to go, but like, that's crazy. But like, I totally get it. Everyone wants to time out from it. Everybody does. But like, it could go there. So you do have to make sure you're diversified and that you can make sure you can still sell whatever you're selling in other ways.
There has been a spike on flip phones. I'm not lying. If you research flip phones, like the ones I had when I was in college or like a little before, yeah, it's a thing. So it's a thing. So I think that this conversation reminds us that promoting your art isn't about chasing trends. It's more about finding methods that align with your values, your energy, and your creative goals. So thank you all for participating in this, and now we're going to be opening the mic for the audience. If you have questions or comments or ideas to share with us, we'll be happy to hear them.
You can help with mic passing if you want. Any questions? This goes back to 1990. I just read an article. A family is on.
It'll be great.
It's on Instagram. A family in Oregon, their young daughter came to them wanting a phone. She's like 11, 12, something like that. They're like, okay. They got her a landline. They talked to her friends, the families of her friends. They now have a community of landlines for all of the kids to talk to each other, to get away from the cell phones. I know.
This is really interesting, and again, I think that this talks about us having the control over the things we want to share and the information we want to share. So I think that this speaks about it.
I think still open studio where people can come to your studio. That's for me still the biggest thing. And every time I do this, you get new people coming in, and you get good connections. They sign up for your newsletter.
Because they see a piece of you.
Yeah, and you
Because
can
they
do
get
a
a piece of
little
you. If you would post some of that,
Yeah.
that's even better.
It was fun seeing how she lived and the book she had around and different things like that. I really feel like I connect with her.
And you don't have to wait for me if you want to say it.
I want the mic.
Yes, drop it, baby.
Let me think about how to ask this. So, like, one of the things that I hear you all talking about is this idea of like being authentic, showing things behind the scenes, showing who you are. And I personally have this kind of like conflict where in some ways I want to keep my career and my practice and my professional life separate from my personal life and not like over commodify my personality or my everyday life. It seems different, like you talking about the open studio, right? Somebody's coming into my space, I'm having a one-on-one interaction with them. I don't necessarily feel like I'm selling or monetizing my personality. It feels more like a genuine connection rather than a representation of a genuine connection. And I'm just wondering, like, if y'all have any thoughts about that or any experiences kind of like balancing that problem.
That is something that I think about all the time. And I have been so honest about a lot of just like deeply personal things, like on just like my main art Instagram. And I think that it's gone well for me, but it's been like very specific things that are just like very deep in the moment. And it's, I don't know. But sometimes I do get very far in my head about like how much of my personal life needs to be going into my art, but that's what my art is. It's my personal experiences being like garbled up and like spit back out into what is being made, and like if it's something that means like a caption or whatever, and then I'm still thinking about my experience, I'm going to put that whole experience in the caption. So yeah, that's my experience with that idea.
Yeah, and kind of like you were saying, I only have one Instagram, so it's my art and then like also my life. And so I don't share like everything on there, but if it's like, oh, I'm gonna post this cute picture I took with my friends, or like I went to this coffee shop, I'm gonna share my nasty cold brew lemonade that I get. It's very polarizing. I love it. But yeah, so I think just being genuine and just sharing what you want to share. Like I said, I don't share everything, but like I'll post pictures of my friends, or if I'm going somewhere doing something, I think it's important just to stay genuine and just share whatever you want to share.
Yeah, I think that's a tough one. I have an Instagram also that is just my business and also my life, and anyone that follows me knows I post pictures of my children and all their things. But I recently was separated and went through a divorce. No one knows that. And sometimes I wanted to put the little depressing quote on my story, and I thought, well, no one's gonna hire the marketing agency that is sitting there trying to get through that. And I'm like, that ain't gonna work. And so I don't post it, but I think about it probably at least 30 times. I'm like, because I want to be real with my audience, but I also am like, you really don't need to know that much probably. And so I think it's just a personal preference. It's just kind of, it's tough, but don't do anything that doesn't feel right. I don't think it's worth it. It's not worth it. Don't do it. Don't open a door you're not ready to hear anything, which is exactly why I did not post those quotes. So, but you all in this room know. And so you're all my listeners. And my very good friends know the thing is, my very good friends know what I'm going through. So they probably look at my stories and go, I know that girl ain't that happy. What is she doing? I'm just having my coffee. I'm doing my thing. I got a business to hustle. So I think, yeah, it's just whatever in your heart feels good.
Do you mind passing? Yeah. So I actually really love the being authentic and showing yourself. And my favorite thing is actually watching like a live where they're painting and talking to us like people, and I get to interact with them as a person. My question is, how do you get on the other side of that and fight like imposter syndrome and like going up there and going, I'm not good enough to be in here, even though maybe you are, but you're afraid to put yourself out there because of the protection.
Okay, so you just gotta pretend that you're good. Because like I was asked to be on this panel, and I was like, I don't know why. But here I am, and if I would have been like, no, I'm not good enough, I can't, then I want to be here, and that would be lame, and I want to have this experience. So I think it's really just, I don't know, whenever something's, if it's other people or something internal inside you begging you to be somewhere, you gotta listen to that. And if something's begging you to not be somewhere, question that.
I had the same thought when you messaged me. I was like, are you sure? But yeah, I think kind of like what you were saying. I mean, everybody feels this way, I think.
Yes,
No one
every day.
really knows what they're doing ever. I definitely don't. And so I think if you want to do something, just do it. And if you're scared, just do it. And it'll be okay, probably. And if not, then you'll have a really funny story. And it'll work out. Everything works out.
Like if no one learned anything from anything we said, we're like, all right, whatever. Imposter syndrome every day of my life, all the time. But you know, I have, it's on my website, there's a list of all my clients, it's all their logos. There's over 70 of them, and that kind of gives me some tokens. I see that, and I see the Thunder, and I see Billboard City Memorial, and I see Oklahoma Hall of Fame, and I see Big Truck Tacos, and I see some, a lot of little guys too. They're just as important as the big ones. But that stuff kind of is like, hey, they wouldn't work with you if you weren't a badass. And so, but we all have those days, and you just gotta say yes. For me, I just say yes, and we just hope what happens. And I got to meet really cool people tonight. So like, I always think I'm gonna meet someone cool. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna meet somebody. And so I think imposter syndrome is I bet everyone in this room has that. It's hard. Just put yourself out there. Like, there's nothing wrong with it.
Can I say something else? Let me tell you one good advice that I got a long time ago. The difference between art and design is that art is a self-expression, and design you need to create for an audience. So if you're an artist and you are showing yourself genuinely and truly, you know, like you are sharing your process, first off, you don't owe anyone your creative process and your meaning. So if they're getting inspiration from you and if they're appreciating your creative process, it's because they truly believe and respect everything you're sharing with them. So, and yeah, so again, art is a self-expression, so like you don't need to feel bad about expressing yourself, whether it's good or bad. Someone said once to me, like, I don't like Frida Kahlo's art because every time I see her work, it's really painful. I'm like, good, because that's what she wanted to express, you know, like. So yeah, I don't think it's good or bad. It's just like if someone resonates with your craft and with your creative practice, then you're doing the right thing because again, you're just expressing yourself. And I mean, that's good that someone resonates and feels identified with that. So that's good.
Hi. So you talk a lot about how you're putting yourself out there and sharing your own story and everything. How do you find yourself connecting with other artists by looking at the ways that they're sharing their processes and stories and like find community in that?
This is kind of what I like it whenever people show me what movies they're watching. That makes me feel good because I'm like, oh, those are the things that are like working in your brain and coming into your psyche. Or like whenever somebody has like a super messy studio, that makes me feel really good because I definitely have a super messy studio, and it's in my house too, so I'm always like cleaning it. Anyways, sorry, what was your question exactly?
Do you find yourself like seeing other artists through this that they're sharing about their process and their background, and how do you connect to others?
Oh yeah. Just seeing the bones of what they're creating, like seeing the breakfast doodles and seeing the books they're reading and the movies they're watching. That makes me feel really inspired, and it also makes me feel inspired to share that stuff with other people as well.
Yeah, I agree. I love seeing people's faces or like the outfits they're wearing.
Yes.
that's what I love seeing different artists do. I have a lot of friends who are in the arts and just seeing like a lot of them post different reels or just regular static posts. So I think just having that diverse kind of variety of media that you're looking at can be really inspiring. Like I don't want to just look at like reels all day. I want to look at Pinterest. I want to look on YouTube. I want to see all different kinds of things that people are making.
Seeing what other people, seeing what other people are like posting and like their curated feed is like definitely, it's a break from the algorithm. It's somebody's very curated ideas of what they specifically are like. This is inspiring me, so it gives me like a snapshot of their internal aesthetics and what they find beautiful. And I'm like, damn, that is beautiful.
And we have time for one more question or one last question. Then we have a really exciting announcement today. Questions, anyone? One last question? Sure. Alrighty, well.
Hello? About the imposter syndrome thing. I get that. I don't have that issue, and here's how I learned. I was kind of fortunate. I worked in broadcast radio, and I hosted a radio show, and the guy who owned the station, it was the Spy, KSPI, and I was really nervous about it. I was pre-recording my show, and I was always really nervous, so it took me forever to finish voiceovers and things like that. And he said, Steve, just pretend my whole thing was like, I'm not the expert on this particular genre of music. He said, well, maybe you are in Oklahoma, or nobody knows that. So maybe, and I'm not saying that like to fantasize, but to put yourself in a frame of mind where it's like, I am good at what I do. My work is good, and tell yourself that. And don't compare your work with other people at all. Appreciate other people's work. Who maybe pick up some ideas, some inspiration from other people's work, and I think that's a great way, because when I was a lot younger, I looked at people's artwork and thought, this stuff is so amazing, I don't know how they do that, how can I ever do something like that? And I think it just takes that separating your belief in your work and your ability, and don't compare yourself good, bad to others. And I think that's a good obstacle, or a way to get over that obstacle. I don't know, the way I see it is that I'm just kind of like in my own bubble, I'm in my own little universe, and I really don't pay attention to a whole lot of other things that are going on out there, but I will pay attention to work I do like. And then I look at it and I study it, admire it, and think, and I always get some kind of inspiration from it to incorporate to my own artwork. So that's how I kind of moved away from that insecurity and imposter syndrome. So that's all I have.
Well, thanks everyone. Thank our panelists.